emotional values are focused on the economy directly. About another 45-ish or so percent are focused on the military, and we're seeing some of that release language build now around this first brigade, for instance, and the idea of the fact that a coup has occurred here in October 1. We're seeing some of the release language start to go viral, and I mentioned that one of our previous reports, that there's going to be a personality that's going to emerge, and I think I've got a clue as to who it might be, who's going to do some videos that are going to go staggeringly viral and will be looked back upon in a year or so as the foundation for the revolution that's going to begin in 2009.
Oh, really?
Globally, yeah. And
who's your candidate, by the way? Is it Naomi?
Yes, indeed. Yes, yeah. And it's already reaching. The language around it is just perfect for that descriptor that we had a few weeks back about this. So we're starting to see some of the language manifest now. It's going to be a very exciting time. The planet is engaged in going through some serious suffering, which we deserve on an individual basis because we've all participated in this at some level, even by not standing up and saying, hey, this is all, nothing we should be doing. And
well, it's universal culpability and accountability, and I agree with you that it's our planet and we're all part of it.
So you have to take responsibility and start stepping out. Really,
we go back to this, what you just said about these videos now, and Naomi.
Sure. We had some weeks back, we began getting an indication that a personality was going to show up who was in the video business that would hit a viral level by which all future videos that are described as viral would be compared.
That's wild.
Yeah, but it's going to be a staggering part of the awakening of the population as they go through this horrific period of time when the whole credit system seizes up down to their level.
Both here and in Europe, you're talking about, or
globally.
And the woman is?
We believe that at this point, Ms. Naomi Wolf has the top honors. The language around her video is getting really serious. Yeah.
Has she released the first video?
Not a first one. I think she has a number of them out, but she's released something that has all the language around the revolution, and she appears to be riding that particular cresting wave. And whether or not she ends up being that person, we can't say just yet, but we're probably only a month or so away from being able to say, yeah, this person's going to get 100 million views in a mere weeks.
Important distinction, Jeff. When she talks about revolution, it is not a revolution against America. Rather, it's a reconstitutionalization, if there is such a word.
It's only part of a global wave, too. The revolution meme is globally, and it's against the powers that be, as we describe them, or the Illuminati or whoever. Corporatocracy, yeah.
Right.
If the cabal is not dislodged, if we stand back and allow them to crawl out of their holes and set up the next paradigm in which we will be screwed just like this one, I guess we deserve it. And it's time to take a different direction. And literally, I'm going to be posting a list, and I think you know this, of everyone in Congress who voted for the theft, bailout of another $1 trillion or so from the American public. Every single one of these people must be voted out of office. If they're senators and they've got another 2-4 years left, you can't forget. I'll have that list up there. And even if it's the other party you don't belong in, you've got to vote against the people who voted for this bailout.
Well, they have some serious problems coming up, so we need to really start getting our pity face in place.
Right.
America is going to go Argentina in that regard, and these poor politicians sitting in restaurants are going to get spaghetti dumped on their heads, and they're going to get people spitting on them. And
well, they're going to get worse than that in some cases, too.
That's true. Extremism runs all over. We need not go that way. We don't have to be so stupid, as to be violent.
That is stupid. But when you think about this culture and the number of murders the average young person sees by the time they're 18...
Sure. They trained us. Hey, they can't.
Absolutely trained, and the military has been trained. They're trained to pull the trigger.
Video games.
Listen, how many times are these mass shootings ended with the shooter killing himself or herself? At virtually every time. So they've had it. They're going to take people with them. And what we really have to worry about, in my opinion, is a scientist who decides to turn one of these on the shelf, whether they be freeze-dried or kept in some kind of stasis. End of the world viruses or bacteria loose, which they could do. Trust me, they're there. Nanotechnological devices are there as well. So, I mean, these kinds of things are literally extant now. It's not something that's coming. They're here. And it just takes one person who wants to get even. All right, we're going to pause and be right back. Okay, welcome back. Talking with George Ewer and Clif High of halfpasthuman.com. Had a lot of requests, questions for you folks, so let me ask you one of them from our colleague Teresa. She said, if you get a chance, can you please ask the boys to discuss the dimensional holes that will be opening and swallowing up the powers that be next year?
We hope they're big.
Yeah. We do have some really weird indications. We get strange language. Now, the problem is the world is really strange, and so we needed a bucket to hold all the strange language that may turn out to be real.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you have officialdom denying space alien contact or interdimensional being or whatever they are that goes back several thousand years. So you have these people running around denying reality. So we had to put a bucket together, and we've got one. And that particular entity has been forecasting a strangeness where the powers that be are going to get a little unsettled because one or two of them are just going to, like, poof between one step and the next and disappear. And they're going to get a little bit unsettled and think maybe one of their human enemies or whatever has taken them out. And so they're going to start walking around with groups of bodyguards. And pretty soon the groups of bodyguards are going to get larger and larger. And then there's going to even be an incident where powers that be individual and their whole bodyguard cadre are just going to go poof between one turn and the next in a car kind of a thing.
They're going to be raptured.
Well, I wouldn't use that language because I don't buy that concept, but I think that somebody is going to want to have a little discussion of something with them and will transport them or open a hole and let them fall in.
We like that. We like this idea.
This is going to be very interesting. I can't wait for this one to manifest. That's a 2009 kind of a thing.
I wish Robert Wise was still around, the director of The Day the Earth Stood Still. He'd like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a particularly good one. We were quite pleased when we saw that.
Okay, what about the alleged alien invasion, fake or otherwise, that they're apparently...
Language is still building solid for that. If it were a powers that be kind of thing, they've got to engineer it over a number of years, and so we would expect to see this. On the other hand, if it's actually a preconscious, intuitive, mass collective conscious understanding of it, we would expect to see it build over a number of years before the manifestation. So we can't say either way, but the language is still there. It hasn't gone away. Again, about a 2011.
Interesting. All right, what is the language saying about the, I hate to use the word, but that's what they call it, the election?
Confusion and maintaining confusion. And
really?
Confusion on an order of magnitude beyond what we experienced in the year 2000.
Oh, the Supreme Court may outdo itself.
No, not necessarily that way. Maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's no election or whatever. Confusion is going to reign around that particular period of time, and it'll take a number of months to work its way through the system, so to speak.
Electoral college?
Or there's the problem. When we get into things like the election, all the language is hot. Everybody hates Obama or they love him. Everybody hates McCain or they don't. And so we don't really have much in the way of nuance, and therefore we don't get much in the way of detail. We actually end up getting much more detail in our Space Coast Parts entity, which is the one that holds all of the denied information because there's all kinds of spread there. But within the elections, we just get general trend and any emotive words that come back to an archetype. And the archetype is confusion, but that has to be modified with civil confusion, disorder, disruptions, this kind of thing. So it's not just
violence. The big violent. Are we talking about?
Well, there again, in the American society, I tend to not take that word too seriously because you're either really into violence or you're afraid of it, and so the word is always hot. So I have to say that confusion reigns. Whether or not that confusion becomes violent is going to probably be geographic.
Okay. I think that brigade being deployed here is just another typical trial balloon to see how the public reacts to it.
Yeah.
It's clearly not something that could be projected into any area with any great strength. I don't see. And
would be a real serious if they did. If you split them up among the states, you got like 38, 50 troops or whatever. But if you sent them in en masse, then you had 3,000 to 5,000 American battle-hardened troops descending on some poor town and shooting the hell out of it. That's going to create a big backlash.
Right. Big mistake.
Yeah.
I think the idea of announcing it's here, announcing its purpose, announcing Northcom.
Sure.
It's a progressive issue of steps, and I think they're making
neuro-linguistic programming.
That's exactly what it is.
It's deconditioning us, desensitizing us to having an active army deployed for civilian control on American soil.
Of course it is. Yep, sure, absolutely.
In the end, it won't matter. I mean, the idea that the powers that be can sustain the pace against the circumstances that are facing them, it just does not show any possibility of success over the next 3 to 5 years.
Uh-huh.
There's all kinds of conditions that are going to throw their plans out of whack. Their plans at best are, they think themselves to be all powerful,
right,
but they're and smart, but they're really just very clever, on the order of monkeys or somebody that can figure out tools but doesn't really understand the basic principles behind them.
You know,
Having been clever before I was smart,